Dear God, please help reach those with this message whom you want to reach. Help them see you, help them know you, help them know that you love them, you're here for them. Help them feel your mercy, your joy, your love, your compassion, your grace, your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen. So, this is a part 2 for my atheists. I don't know how many parts this is going to be. I'm going to try to keep it. I don't want to go much over 20 minutes. That's usually, I don't think my device can do much longer than that anyway. So, I don't really come in with like a plan of what I'm going to talk about. So this is purely just what comes to me for you guys. I know that it's hard, but if you're watching these videos, and if you are watching all the videos from me, if you want to watch this whole series, and you're really giving God a chance, I just want you to realize you're gonna see this once you see Him. Once you see Him, you will know He loves you, and He loves you in this moment. I know it doesn't mean anything to you if you don't already know who He is, but He loves everything about you, and He did not make a mistake when He made you. There's nothing that He did wrong. He is perfect. He made you exactly how He wanted to make you. And while you might feel like He made a mistake, and you would be like, God, why did you give me this? You could have a defect, you could have, internal struggles, you feel like you have a mental problem, or maybe you're diagnosed with mental issues, maybe you're gay or you're transgender and you feel like there's something wrong with you, and God gave you this thing to deal with that He didn't give to other people, or very few other people, and you're struggling with this addiction or that addiction, or we all come into this world with stuff, and we all accumulate stuff living life, and this is a result from our original separation from Him in the garden with Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had a choice. They had everything. God gave them everything, gave them perfect, blissful scenario with all of their needs were being provided for. They knew who God was. They came into the world and they heard His voice, and they were with Him, and they loved Him, and He loved them, and they had this perfect, beautiful little utopia in the Garden of Eden. And then the serpent comes in and tricks Eve, or convinces Eve to taste the fruit so she knows what God knows. And she did, and she made that choice and gave it to Adam. He ate it. Whether you believe this as a literal story, or a metaphorical story of how we came about into all of our problems, the point of it is there were people with God, original people who God gave everything to, whether it was Adam and Eve, one couple, or if He made a bunch of people at once, and Adam and Eve was just, maybe just represented the male and female population at the time. Maybe you could say, maybe He made a whole civilization. And it's still true in the heart of it. And maybe there wasn't a literal actual serpent, speaking to a woman, but maybe it's even just this idea itching in the back of Eve's head. What if we could know God? And it's like a serpent. Like God knows if we touch this tree that He told us not to. Listen, you don't have to. An atheist, you don't have to take it literally. But it doesn't make the story any less true. The fact is, she wanted, whether a serpent actually physically mouthed the words, hey, you could know just like God if you eat that tree. Maybe He doesn't want you to, or whether this was her own thought and thinking like, what if I could know what God knows if I eat this tree that He doesn't want me to touch? Either that, whatever it is, the tree represents one command that he gave his people, his two people, Adam and Eve. Whether it's two people or a whole bunch of people, it doesn't matter, okay? I think atheists, you get hung up on the literalness, and you think you have to take everything super literally. And while I do believe that the story could have very well have been, I believe Adam and Eve could have just been the original two people, and the story could literally have been exactly the way the Bible says it is. It could also be a metaphor for his original people. He gave them everything. They had a utopia. They loved God. They all knew God. They all saw God, spoke to God, heard God. Okay? And there is an idea of we could know God, we could know like God, we could be more than God if we eat this apple. We could be just like God, not no more than. We could be just like God if we eat this apple. And that's why he doesn't want us to have it, because then we'd be like him. And he doesn't want us to be like him. This is the tree of knowledge. Okay, why would God want to keep us from this tree of knowledge, right? So they ate it. They ate the tree of knowledge. Now we have knowledge, but by going against him, thinking we could be like God is the original sin. It's the original sin, and it's the biggest sin of the New Age movement. That's the idea the New Age movement is promoting, that we could be like God, that we are God energy. We are God. We are creating our own universe, and this is the original sin, and this is why it's so dangerous. Whether or not it was an actual apple or just something that gives you the knowledge like God. So anyway, Adam and Eve eat this apple, break God's command. And he's like, all right, fine, have it your way. You are now knowing good and evil just like I am. Now you have a concept of something that is evil, because you think you can be like me. Now I am God, there is none like me. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am consciousness, pure creator. I create everything. I create heaven, I create earth, I create everything in the between. I create the stars, the sky, the planets, everything forever and ever. I am consciousness, God. And I create the tiniest little specks of mini micro universes to cosmic huge galaxies. There's none like me, and you think you can be like me and go against what I do, eating this fruit. Okay, have it your way. Here is something that you have to deal with now. Now we have to reconcile, we have to battle, we chose this, we thought we could be like him, now we have to overcome. And now to receive him, we have to fight for it. We have to actually try. We have to actually open our hearts. We have to actually want him. We have to take steps. We have to, kind of like, all right, God, I want you. I'm ready for you. He can't just give himself to us. He tried that. He gave himself to us in the beginning with Adam and Eve. And we weren't satisfied with it. That wasn't enough for us to blindly, even though he was with us, they all heard his voice. They all knew, he walked in the garden with them. They saw him. They interacted with him face to face. Okay, so you're saying, atheist, that if God showed himself to me, if he was here with me, I would follow him, I would obey him, I would listen to him, I would do everything for him. I'm going to ask you this in all seriousness. Would you? Would you really? Or is there a crumb of you, a little piece inside of you, a little serpent that might say, well, what if that maybe doesn't trust God? Even if he were to appear to you, if Jesus himself were to come down in the flesh and show you his wounds and said, here, touch this, see this wound in my side, touch me. I can't be lying. You can feel me. I'm real. I'm really right here in front of you, and I really died for you, but I'm back here now. Would you really drop everything and follow him? And drop your pride and drop your sin and drop everything that's holding you apart from him? Would you be willing? would you actually be willing to give up your life, your worldly life, the life that you want to paint in your head? Would you be willing to give that up for him if he showed himself to you? I want you to think about that, because some people say the words, you say the prayer, and you're hoping, if God shows himself to me, then I'll believe. But, okay, so you'll believe, but would you actually follow through that belief with anything else? Would you be willing to change your life? Would you be willing to tell others about him? Would you be willing to drop your pride, eliminate your pride completely, and devote your entire existence to him? If the answer is no, if the answer is even a little bit no, then you're not ready, and he knows you're not ready. So why is he going to come down and do this for you if you are not going to give yourself to him? And if you feel in your heart, the answer is yes. If God showed himself to me, and I knew for sure he was real, if I saw Jesus's hands, and if I did that, if God did that for me, if I saw that, if I experienced this, then yes, I would follow him. Yes, I would do this for him. Yes, I would tell everybody about him. I would live for him. My life would change. If that is your answer, your life would actually change from this revelation. And you would be willing and ready to fight for this if you knew he was true. If you knew God was real, he loved you, he died for you. If you knew without a doubt, then he will reveal this to you. He will. It might take, maybe 14 years isn't enough of searching. Maybe there are things that you need to let go of first. Maybe there is something you are holding, or you would be holding higher than him even if he did come to you. Maybe there is something in you that would argue with him. Even if he was right in front of you and you would say, well, God, then why did you do this? And why did you do that? And why did you do this? You kind of have to let that fall off a little bit so you can see him. You have to he's not going to force himself on you. He doesn't want to force himself on you. He doesn't want a mindless puppet. He doesn't want people to just, zombie, I love you, Jesus. He wants people who really dedicate themselves to him. He wants people to really know him, not just so he gives us these struggles to overcome. So we kind of in our way prove our love for him. In these struggles, he can see that we want him and that we're still pursuing him. And then he can bless us and give us more. Some people, they'll have God and they kind of use him as the prosperity gospel and all this. This is really dangerous stuff here. They'll take God and they'll say, okay, God is going to bless me here. God is going to bless me here. But they don't offer up anything to him. And sometimes he blesses them, but sometimes, and a lot of times he's not gonna actually reconcile and save them. So you have to be careful with this idea. But anyway, I'm getting off the point of what I want to say in this video. The focus of this video is, it's not about good person, good person heaven, bad person hell. Okay, I mean, that's a really hyper simplified point of this, but it's not about good versus evil. I mean, it is, but in human beings, with all of our shades of gray, and there's an infinite amount of shades of gray in human beings, where we want to do good, we try to do good, but we still sort of, even our good actions are kind of colored in, I want to appear like I'm smart and I know what I'm talking about and I'm trying to convince people. And so there's elements of gray, okay, in every part of us, okay? I'm giving money to a homeless person, and then I'm, at the same time, I'm patting myself on the back, and I'm rewarding myself for, oh, look at me, I'm so good giving to this homeless person. Okay, so there's shades of gray. It's good, I'm helping. And then it's, but this action, I can't help it, but this is human nature. We are all shades of gray. So it's not helpful for us to see good versus evil, black and white, because we don't really live in that world. But what we can look at is prideful versus humble and humility. Prideful versus humble. In our actions, we need to choose humble. We need to humble ourselves before God. We need to realize, hey, I'm not God. I'm not in control here. I'm not in control. A lightning bolt can come and strike me down at any time. I could walk outside, get hit by a bus. I could get mugged. I could get beaten and raped. I can get whatever. Things can happen to me. That's how this world is. I am not the one in control. Things can happen to the ones I love. Things can happen to, tragedy can find me. Anywhere it wants to, it can find me. And it has found me in my past. So I recognize I'm not the one in control. So I'm humbling myself before God. And I'm asking him, okay, God, I gotta take that leap of faith. I gotta just take that leap. It's could be a small jump, or even just a step. Just, God, I'm gonna take this girl's word for it and say, all right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say, okay, you're real. It's making sense to me that you are real. That you created the earth, and that you created everything, and that you are intricately a part of my life. I'm going to go ahead and say that there is a reason for my existence. I'm going to go ahead and say that you have a plan for me. There has been good in my life that I can't explain. There has been some bad in my life that I can't explain, but I'm going to trust. I'm going to take the tiniest leap of faith that I am able to take, the tiniest leap of faith, and I'm going to just go ahead and say that you're real, and I'm going to go ahead and take a tiny leap of faith and say that you are good, and I'm going to take a tiny leap of faith and say that I need you, and I need you to show me. I need you to give me evidence of this. I need you to, I'll do whatever you want me to do, God, to show you that I'm ready for you. Ask him. Ask him. Don't just be willing to say the words and say, God, please show me. Jesus, please show me. Say, show me you're real, or show me what you need me to do. Be willing to do an action. Offer up an action for God. What do you need me to do to see you more clearly? If you're willing to work for him, if you're willing to do something for him and show you, he will show you back. He will honor that. If you're willing to give him a sacrifice, it doesn't have to be a blood sacrifice. Okay, he already did the blood sacrifice to end all blood sacrifices. Okay, but just sacrifice something. What do you want me to do to show you that I'm serious? One way God honors to show that you are serious is just the act of humbling in prayer, and just talking to him, not just once, okay, but bring him everything that you can bring him, okay? And then another act is through fasting. You say, okay, I'm going to fast for a day, and this is for you. This is for you. I'm denying my flesh. I'm denying, and I'm doing this for you. But ask him what he wants you to do. Maybe he wants you to stop watching TV for a week. Maybe he wants you to stop, try to stop masturbating for a week. it could be different for everybody. Whatever is taking your focus from him, okay, whatever is taking it away from him, there's something blocking. If you're not getting him, if you're not reaching him, you have a blockage. And especially if it's been years and years, I feel there's a blockage. There's something that you're putting in front of him, even if you're saying the words, even if you're praying the prayer. You have something, whether it's in your mind, whether it's something you're filling your time with, something you're filling your space with. You are not connecting. Okay? If you're alive, if you're breathing, if your heart's beating, obviously you're watching this, he's not done with you yet. He hasn't given up on you. He's not throwing you away. He still has a plan for you. He still has a purpose for you. You can still make it into his kingdom. He can still bring you to him, and he wants to. And don't be afraid of anything or anyone or anything else. Do not let fear of anything get in the way. Don't let... I feel like this video is just, I could just ramble. I could just keep going forever and ever on this. I'm at the 20-minute mark already. But I guess I want to close with this. Search yourself. Make yourself humble before the Lord. Seek him with your whole heart. Don't hold anything back. If there's something you feel, like if it's a fear, if it's a sadness, if there's somebody that hurts you in the name of God, a Christian person that hurts you and used it against you, or if there's pain you're carrying because of that, somebody who is a Christian or claimed to be a Christian abused you, or said something, or was condescending to you, or didn't answer your questions, or didn't try and didn't love you and was a poor representative of Christ. If that's the reason, if that's the stumbling block, just give it to him. Say, God, I want to know you, but this person hurt me and is standing in the way, or my pride, or I'm doing this, I'm filling my mind with all kinds of other stuff. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to listen to praise music for a little while? Do you want me to just read a little Bible? Do you want me to fast? Do you want me to pray to you more? How will you show yourself to me? And I guarantee you will get some sort of an answer. You will get some sort of a feeling like, okay, God probably doesn't want me to do this. Or you'll get a feeling, okay, I think God kind of wants me to do this first. And then I'll feel him. I might see him. It's not always like a experience like, whoa, there's God, okay, like I kind of had in my darkest moment. Sometimes it's gradual, because my walk back to him from once I knew he was real, that was a boom moment for me. Wow, God's real, he's here. He loves me and he saved me from suicide. But then my walk back to actually, from this idea of God that I had in the New Age movement, like, oh, I am God, or I can be just like God. It took 10 years to actually see who God is for real. And so yes, I had an experience in the church, but there was a few months leading up to it where I see now I was softening to the idea. I started listening to some, not all the time, but I started to listen to more praise music, or Christian radio station in the car, because my daughter was getting older. She was 4, 5, and she's listening to the lyrics on the radio, okay, and I'm like, some of these songs, and she's asking me questions, and I'm like, some of these songs are making me uncomfortable. So in the car with her, I started just switch it to the Christian station because I knew it was clean, and I mostly just switched for that reason. But then and sometimes I would kind of argue with the songs at first. It was funny. I used to kind of say, oh, okay, they got this. I would sort of try to argue with the songs in my mind. I wouldn't say it or anything, but I would kind of be like, well, that's a nice idea, or this and that. But then there were some songs that I actually couldn't argue with. They stirred something in me, and I was like, huh. And I think that softened me to accept him in the church, where I just couldn't deny him anymore. I had nothing left, no mental thing I could do to deny him his existence anymore, or who he was. So it could be a long process. It was like a 10-year kind of process for me, from God is real to Jesus is God in the flesh, and that was a huge, and obviously your journey is not going to be my journey. You're going to have your own story, and it's going to be amazing too, even if it's going to be like a 20-year to God's story, or a 30-year, 40-year God, but even your journey now, you're going to see, you watching this video is part of your journey. You opening your mind, opening your heart, this is you're being softened. It's like a piece of meat being tenderized so you could be ready to accept him. A lot of your struggle is being pounded. You're just being pounded to accept him, but he's going to reconcile all to him, everyone, eventually. I feel there's scripture that says he will reconcile all to him. Make all who want him, all who can possibly want to know him, he will reconcile you to him. If you actually have a genuine hunger and thirst to know if God is real, and to feel him, and to experience him, and to live with him, he will see that, he will honor that, maybe not right away. And maybe it'll take some years, and maybe you need to be pounded a little bit more. You need to be tenderized a little bit more. But it will happen before you die. It will happen before it's over. That is the guarantee. If I put a time frame on it before in the last video, the time frame is the end of your life. That's the only time frame. You will see him before you die, if your heart really wants to know. And if that's the only thing that you're waiting for is proof, and there's nothing else blocking you, there's nothing else, you're not standing in the way of him in any other way, as far as super pride or big sin of any kind, and you're not, if the only thing you're waiting for, you will gladly follow him, all you're waiting for is proof, he will give you that proof before you die, guaranteed. Before you leave this earth, you will know him, you will know Jesus. If you are willing to give it up and follow him, I am 100% certain of this. You will have the answer before you die. You can rest in that comfort. You can just take a sigh of relief, like, okay, God is not going to let go of me. If I'm willing to follow him, he will show me. He will give me the proof I need to follow him. Dear God, please be with those people who do not know you. Help them see you. Because I feel it in my bones that time is really of the essence, God. And I help them, soften them, be with them, open their hearts, open their eyes to you. In Jesus' name, amen.